Yes, good morning, Naga. Morning, Charlie. Welcome to the University of Bedfordshire, and more importantly, welcome to my jungle of jargon. Because you probably noticed that people like me wang on rather a lot, don't we, about Brexit, and start using terms that, frankly, even people like me sometimes struggle to understand, and frankly, hadn't really heard of much at all until a couple of years ago. So you can get lost in this soup of jargon, which is totally incomprehensible. So our challenge today, given that Brexit is everywhere and is going to be absolutely everywhere for the next couple of, well, days, weeks, months, maybe years, is to try and take a good look at it and try and get to the bottom of what some of these terms mean. Firstly, let me introduce you to a bunch of guys from Luton. Morning to you.
Morning.
Right, let's grab my microphone here. What's your name?
Neela Holden.
Hello, Neela. Brexit. How closely are you following it?
I'm following it really closely because in my day job I'm a coach and I help food and drink businesses, particularly SME food and drink businesses, and they are really struggling to understand what Brexit means for them.
And between you and me, how baffling is it for you?
Very baffling, very baffling. There's just so much jargon and so much that's unknown, and it just feels like chaos.
Let's take a look at some of these terms that we've got on the table. What have we got here? What's your name?
It's Kieran Nixon.
No deal you are brandishing here. Be honest, is it baffling?
Yeah, very baffling. I don't really know what's going on. As much of the country doesn't know either. No deal, though, I think means we leave the European Union with no deal. Simple as that. So. That
is pretty much the gist of it, and we've got an expert on tap to pick the brains of in just a second. A couple of the other terms here. Let's dive around the table. Where shall we head next? Let's go around here. Morning, sir. What's your name?
I'm Peter Adams.
And here we have what
Customs Union.
Customs Union. Can you hazard a guess?
Well, it means we can deal across the Customs Union pretty much freely. We can move pretty much freely. There's nothing stopping us talking together, working together, trading together, living together.
Thank you. I'm going to grab this sign. I'm going to take ownership of this next one to head over and speak to Georgina Wright from the Institute for Government, who is over here. Because this is my favourite term to love to hate, Georgina. Backstop, which, you know, is a term normally associated with the game of rounders at primary school and features everywhere. Can you have a crack at defining this for me? Morning to you.
Good morning. It is one of those terms that we hear all the time right now. Clearly, the idea of a backstop is to stop something from happening at the very last minute. So, what it is, it concerns the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. So, what do we know? The UK shares a border with Ireland that happens to be a member state. Now, at the moment, we're part of the EU, so we're part of one single market. Now, if we left the EU and we no longer want to be in the single market, no longer want to abide by the same rules, then we would have some checks at that border. Now, because that border has a history of conflict and because there's no infrastructure there at the moment, this backstop acts like an insurance policy. So it says if we don't manage to find a solution to keep that border open and to minimise the kind of border infrastructure, we would have an insurance policy called what we call the backstop. And so it would essentially keep Northern Ireland closely related to the EU. It would abide by more rules than the rest of GB, but it would only happen unless and until another solution was found.
Brilliant explanation. And in a word, how frequently do you find yourself baffled by all this?
Pretty much on a daily basis, frequently.
Few. Thank you, Georgina. We'll speak to you later.